Hi there, it's your girl Z from TransVoiceLessons.com, and in this video we are going to talk about morning voice and how to get rid of it. So if you've been playing with your voice for a while, especially if you've been working on voice feminization, you might have noticed that in the morning your voice tends to feel a little bit more stiff. It maybe sounds a bit lower, it sounds a bit scratchier, right? This is the dreaded morning voice. Over the years, I have had loads of students and viewers from the channel ask me about what they should do with their morning voice. I've even had some individuals worry that it's a sign that they're doing something wrong with their voice. Morning voice is totally normal. When we're sleeping at night, mucus can build up on our vocal folds. Also, when we're not moving or not vocalizing, things become stiffer, colder, more rigid. Additionally, overnight, we could be breathing in cold air, or we could be breathing in through our mouth really wide. Or over the evening, you could have postnasal drip, right? You could have just normal sinus drainage. All of these things culminate to create the dreaded morning voice. Morning voice is not something specific to trans voice. It's not something specific to masculine or feminine voices. It's just a pretty regular behavior of the voice overall. But even though it's normal, there are things that we can do to reduce the impact that morning voice has on our practice and on our routine. So what can we do about morning voice? Well, one, it all starts with good vocal hygiene, and we'll talk about that in a second. And two, we can take advantage of a balanced vocal warm-up. So when we think about vocal hygiene, we're thinking about a few things. One, we're thinking about our conditional hygiene. Have we been hydrating? Have we been sleeping well? Have we been eating okay? Are we generally healthy? What is the air like in our room? Is it really dry? Is it really humid? What's the temperature like? So factors like that are conditional hygiene. And the better our conditional hygiene is, the faster we'll just be able to get up in the morning and the less severe that morning voice will tend to be. Now, eventually I'll do an entire video on vocal hygiene for this channel, but some other important factors you'll want to keep in mind are the wear and tear you're putting in on your voice every day, right? Are you working in a very vocal situation, or are you a vocal underdoer, right? That can influence your overall vocal hygiene patterns, which can then either increase or, decrease the severity of morning voice. Like, for example, if you spent the night out at the club shouting and drinking, well, you're probably going to wake up with worse morning voice that next day, both due to the combination of the dehydration from the alcohol, just shouting and disturbing and irritating the vocal folds anyways, probably being out in the cold air, maybe not getting the best possible sleep. All those things will contribute to your morning voice challenges. And this is also why it's so important to think about the costs of our vocal action versus our recovery from those costs. Now that we've considered our vocal hygiene, let's assume that you and I are sleeping great, drinking water, eating food, all those kinds of things, and we're waking up with the best possible condition that our instrument can be in. The next thing that we'll want to consider in order to get our voice jump started for the day is a very simple vocal warm-up. Almost anything can be a vocal warm-up. Vocal warm-ups just involve getting your voice active. So you should be making sound, you should be moving things around. A lot of times individuals will get very complex with these, but honestly, it can be very, very simple, and it doesn't really change the overall impact of it. We just need to think about getting those vocal folds moving, getting the vocal tissue active, getting our brains active, and starting to engage with voice for the day. Generally speaking, your warm-up should consist of playing with different pitch changes, playing with different loudness changes. I really like to work on changing weight and interacting with weight at different pitches when I'm getting warmed up in the morning. If you're still getting familiar with resonance modification, I do recommend a little bit of warming up resonance movement in the morning. So there's a lot of options that you can employ to help you warm up. You can work on sustaining tones for a really long time. You can work on changing volume and playing with loudness. You can work on pitch changes, wiggles and wobbles, going higher, going lower, jumping around in your voice. You can simply hum a single vowel for a long time. So these kinds of basic vocal activities are great for you to warm up with. Alright, so just to give you guys some ideas on what you might want to do for warming up, here are a couple options. One, I really love just sustaining a long, powerful, heavy tone. Something like this. Ah. Long, sustained, heavy tones like that really start to move everything. And for me, I find I warm up a lot faster with lower and heavier sounds. And then as my warm up progresses on, then I move higher and lighter. And that makes it easier than just trying to start higher and lighter. 2, basic pitch movements. You can do little pitch oscillations. Ooh. You can do oscillations inside of oscillations. Ooh. Etc. You can do little lightning bolts. Ooh. In any direction. You can work on sliding across and connecting the whole range the best you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Ooh. 5, playing with different loudness levels. So, usually in the morning, I like to start out loud, heavy. I just like to get my voice moving. And so after a little bit of that, then I work on taking away some volume, stretching into it, something like this. I kind of lean into that strength, pull away from it. I find that to be a good warm-up. 6, you can combine any of these with semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. So you could hum while you do these on an M sound. You could do a lip trill with all of these. Right? Any of the other things we did, you could do them in those environments as well, with a straw, etc. So those kinds of things are what I consider to be very basic vocal warm-ups. They're just simple interaction with your voice. And I'm almost always riffing on some variations of those early in the morning. Now, those kinds of warm-ups are trying to warm up your vocal folds specifically, trying to dislodge mucus, trying to get blood to flow so everything starts to move more fluidly. You can also warm up other aspects of your voice. You can warm up different behaviors of your tongue. You could warm up different behaviors of your vocal tract. All of those are totally fine. I won't include any in this video now just because they're maybe a little more advanced, and I'll probably do a whole warm-up video in the future. But generally speaking, when you're waking up, in order to get rid of morning voice, themes like what we explored in those first 6 different warm-up ideas are really what you want to do to start to work away that morning voice. So scatter these throughout your morning routine, right? You don't have to try and warm up immediately right when you wake up. Just do a little bit of it throughout the morning. Some in the shower, maybe some while you're putting on clothes, maybe some when you're walking into your kitchen. And cumulatively, as you produce sound, your voice will start to warm up and that morning voice will start to fade away. So in summary, morning voice is totally normal. It's usually just a bunch of mucus or some mild irritation, whatever, that has built up on your rigid and cold vocal folds overnight. So we have to prevent that irritation. We have to prevent that dehydration and mucus. And we do that through conditional hygiene, making sure that we take care of our instruments, staying hydrated, making sure we are getting enough sleep, making sure our environment is not too hostile for us, making sure we avoid irritants, or if we do consume irritants, we create space between our intense vocal activities and those irritants. So if our conditional hygiene is right, and then we have a really basic warm-up involving playing with sound production, playing with pitch, playing with loudness, playing with our vocal weight, moving around a lot, just interacting with our voice, it's going to get our voice warmed up faster so that the blood gets flowing, the mucus gets dislodged, and we start to have that reparative effect with interacting with our voice. And after that, you can do whatever you want with your voice. You could play with resonance warm-ups, you could do tongue twisters, whatever you want to do, go for it. The sky is the limit. But that is how you prevent and reduce morning voice, and warming up helps that morning voice fade away much quicker. So that's all for this video. I hope you found it helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you'd like to support the work we're doing on this channel, please check us out on Patreon. If you'd like to work together in individual lessons or group lessons, go to TransVoiceLessons.com/booking. And otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Bye.
Love me.